Mahabali River that is flourished by monsoonal rains, where nature is heavenly and sublime in its beauty and grandeur, lies the splendidly landscaped Royal Botanic Gardens at Peradeniya. Its 200-year-old legacy has made it a landmark botanical garden in tropical Asia and among the most prestigious in the world. It is located in a World Heritage City, adjacent to a renowned university and a prominent agricultural research zone. While its heritage exceeds both, it goes about 650 years back. When King Vikramabahu III ruled during the Gampala Kingdom in 1371 AD, he used this premises as his royal courts, and Vimaladharma Surya II also built a temple in this setting. Later it became a royal garden for King Kirti Sri Rajasinghe and King Rajadi Rajasinghe. During the British colonial period, the first botanic garden appeared in Colombo in 1810 with the name Kew. Later, in 1813, a supplementary garden was established in Kalutara, Uggalboda. In 1821, after the final conquest of the Kandyan kingdom, Alexander Moon realized that Peradeniya was the ideal geographical location for establishing the Royal Botanic Gardens. Since then, the garden remained as a center for economic development of the country based on the plantation industry, introducing various cash crop species such as tea, coffee, rubber, and other tropical plants. The British planted the first tea plants for testing purposes in the Botanic Garden before 1828. Consequently, the first tea plantation in Sri Lanka was established in Lulkandura in 1872 from the seeds taken from the garden in 1866. The land was once used by a government agent in Kandy to grow jackfruits, coconuts, and vegetables for sale. Furthermore, more gardens were set up for desirable economic crop plantations. The Botanic Garden at Hakgala was established in 1861 to introduce cinchona into the island as a cure for malaria. In 1876, Gampa, Henarathkoda Botanic Gardens was initiated for the introduction of rubber. The landscapes were improved since 19th century under the supervision of great botanists, while cinnamon, coffee, and cocoa were chiefly planted crops. From its inception, the garden was also a center for studies on local flora, and it took on a more botanical emphasis. Botanic gardens were adorned even in the 19th century with native and exotic plant species, earning them a worldwide reputation. The launch of the Flora of Ceylon, the set of books containing taxonomic information on plant species growing in Ceylon, was a great milestone in the late 19th century. Following recognition of the role played by the Botanic Gardens in the upliftment of the agriculture sector and the national economy, the Department of Agriculture was formed in 1912, with the gardens becoming one of its main units. Thus, the Royal Botanic Gardens, which has a proud history, celebrated its centenary in 1922 with great pride. During the Second World War, this land became the Southeast Asian headquarters of the British Army. Then, while the world was changing from eradication to conservation, the gardens stepped in to a new era. With the beginning of the new century, the Royal Botanic Gardens began to be dynamically active in the ex situ conservation of plants. With the expansion of the commercial orchid industry, it was necessary to contribute to the revival of the floriculture industry. Accordingly, the first tissue culture laboratory in the country was established here in 1970. With its cultural, historical and scientific wealth, the Botanic Gardens have evolved to the present day with unique local and foreign plants spreading over 147 acres in attractive landscapes. It is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Sri Lanka, attracting nearly 2 million visitors each year, including a significant number of foreign tourists. The picturesque landscapes of this garden are known by a variety of names. The famous avenues, namely the Royal Palm Avenue, initiated in 1898, the Cabbage Palm Avenue and the Palmyra Palm Avenue, introduced in 1905. The Double Coconut Avenue was introduced in 1904 with Lodoicea moldivica, the tree that produces the largest seed in the world. And the Cook's Pine Avenue with Alocaria columnaris plants brought from New Caledonia are exclusive attractions of the garden. The most attractive section of the garden is the flower garden. The Coleas border, the Octagon House, which was built in 1894, and the Tembusu tree, Fagria fragrans, which is managed in the shape of a Christmas tree, are significant features. The Orchid House, with its unique orchids blooming in profusion, attracts many visitors. It now displays over 300 varieties of orchids. The palm collection here is one of the best in Asia, with about 220 species. The row of Canarium indicum The Pinetum and the Cycad collections also exhibit the uniqueness of this garden. The memorial collection consists of trees planted by eminent persons, including heads of states, state guests, astronauts, and royalty during their official visits to the gardens. The history of this collection goes back to 1875 with the planting of Bo tree, Ficus religiosa, by King Edward on his visit to Sri Lanka. Moreover, the Arboretum originated in 1844 and contains about 8,000 of trees and shrubs, is scientifically significant as it houses many threatened native plants. To identify plants, their scientific names and common names are displayed in 4 different color boards. Green for natives, black for exotics, red for endemics, and yellow for toxic plants. One of the main objectives of the Botanic Gardens is to explore and propagate threatened plant species stated in the National Red List and reintroduce them to the wild with regard to threatened species. Several species of Diospyros, Dipterocarpus, and Shoria have been conserved in such a manner. Aquatic plants, student gardens, grass collection, medicinal garden, cacti collection, the fernery, spice garden with more than 20 species including endemic plants, and the most dense wood of the world, Guiacum officinale, are some of the noteworthy features of this garden. While cooperating with other national botanic gardens, some major responsibilities are centered at the Royal Botanic Gardens. Established in 1824, the National Herbarium is the country's foremost center for knowledge on plants. By conserving properly preserved plant specimens and documenting them, it is a recognized national body responsible for plant authentication and dissemination of botanical knowledge. While the Department of National Botanic Gardens is the primary government entity overseeing national floriculture and landscaping. The Floriculture Division provides technology, training, knowledge, infrastructure ingredients, and planting material to local growers and conducts research to address problems and introduce new technologies. It is also involved in breeding new varieties of plants for the floriculture industry. According to Botanic Gardens Conservation International, botanic gardens are institutions holding documented collections of living plants for the purpose of scientific research, conservation, display, and education. Today, this concept is being improved upon with knowledge updated through 2 centuries. Excellence in scientific research, providing educational opportunities in plant-related fields, conserving nationally sacred and historical plants, providing expert knowledge for legal actions in cases of illicit plant trade, and providing pleasure and knowledge through nature to attract tourists. the Botanic Gardens in Sri Lanka plays a lead role in the local economy. This beautiful land, historical, magnificent, and rich in natural heritage, is maintained at the international level. Royal Botanic Gardens at Peradeniya looks forward to welcoming the 3rd century with visions and objectives aligned with their ability to meet new challenges appropriately and meaningfully.